Okay, guys, we are live. Hit the like, hit the share, give us a sub, show us you care. I like that. I'm sure Errol doesn't like that at all, but bit of fun, bit of crack to talk about the team we love, of course, Liverpool Football Club. And I've got a legend with me today, Redmen TVs Errol Smith in the house. Unbelievable guy, this guy, full of energy, bit like me, full of energy. Red Bull boy, like a can, a 6-pack of Red Bull cans. That's what this guy is.
That's
in
the
house.
vibes.
Errol, welcome to the show. How are you, buddy?
Dave, thank you very much for having us. I'm really good. Thank you. Yeah, it's been a bit of a whirlwind summer, but you know what? In terms of all things Liverpool, we've just gone from strength to strength to strength. We've laid down a massive marker with some of the signings that we've plucked out in this particular transfer window, and I just believe the intention is dominance. Now, I don't want to get everybody too giddy too soon. I know we're only a minute in, but it feels as though, especially in my lifetime, mate. I know, older Liverpool fans will have seen periods of dominance before, but I've never seen anything in the likes of what Liverpool have been cooking up this summer, and it's been a joy to watch. It's been a joy to be able to sit back knowing that we're in safe hands, and the planning's been meticulous. It doesn't really ever feel as though two clubs tend to go in for the same. Everybody's kind of neatly allotted into their lanes, and everyone's like, right, there's our lane's worth of targets. Let's see how many we can kind of work through before a deadline day situation happens. And it doesn't feel like we're fighting anybody. It feels like Liverpool is in a league of its own when it comes to those transfers. And I'm sure we'll get into it. But on the whole, the overview from the lads here at the studio, from myself, very, very positive, very upbeat. I'm looking forward to just going from strength to strength this season.
Do you know the real killer was? Of course, the window only shut there on Monday night, but as soon as 3 games in, we won 3 games. Haven't played well in the 3 games, but it doesn't matter. It's 9 points on the board. An unbelievable window. And it's international break straight away. Yeah. Goddamn international break. All I want to do is see Liverpool play this weekend, and they're not,
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you in that, because we always get into this rhythm of, right, start the season well, build up that little bit of momentum. In the second, and again, as you rightly said, we've not played our best. So in terms of playing ourselves into form, this is probably coming a really awful time for us, because we tend to come back from international breaks a little bit sluggish, a little bit slow to get up through the gears. And I'm like, no, I want us to be, chomping at the bit. I want us to be ready. I want us to be firing on all cylinders. And it'll take time. But in terms of, just taking a little bit of momentum, I think one of the biggest killers when an international break just looms is you don't want to be the team that's been on the receiving end of a loss going into that 10-day break where you're just stewing and it's just sitting on your mind to think, I want to put those wrongs right. Unfortunately for us, our nearest, rivals, we gave them that loss. So it'll be Arsenal fans and, the Arsenal contingent that'll be really struggling to come to grips with. I just want to get another game in under our belt so we can draw the Liverpool one as a bit of an anomaly, as a bit of a one-off. But no, I think it hasn't come at a good time, but I think we'll deal with it. I think, in terms of hopefully being able to get players back, I'm hoping the likes of Jeremy Frimpong will be ready, available for us as well. I think a couple of the other lads that pulled up towards the back end of the Arsenal game as well, if they don't have such an intense 10 days with the national side, that might do them a little bit of good as well, keep some fresh legs and a little bit of energy, because the games, as soon as we come back, the games are just going to be thick and fast. You're not going to have a real moment to really take stock again, because before the next international break, you might have played 6 games or something like that. So there's going to be a lot of football played this season. We've got to manage the squad, but I think, again, going back to the point of the summer, I think that's what FSG, the Michael Edwardses, the Richard Tudors of this world and Onslaught have looked to see, right, how can we make sure that throughout the course of a season we've got the minerals and the engine still good to go and kick on, because it's all well and good being able to handle the league, but the pressure ramps up when the Champions League comes about. Yeah. The pressure ramps up when it's knockouts and it's the FA Cup. How are we going to have, our best players looking like they're in late October, early December form when it comes to March and April? That's a really crucial point in the season as well. So I think there'll be lessons learned from last season, but hopefully they'll have got the players in that feels that bolsters the squad enough.
So you look at the window, obviously mega amounts of money being sold, over 400 million, but we did recoup over 200 million. So it sort of evens itself out if you're talking about net spend. But I just think it's future-proof in Errol. I really do. I think we're I mean, look at the age profile for a start. It's gone right down. You know what I mean? And we're not even looking at this season. It's sort of looking ahead for next 2, 3, 4, 5 seasons. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even Giovanni Leone, the young lad who got called up to the
John
Italian
the Lion. John the Lion, his name is, David. Bro, when I got told his name was John the Lion, I was like, yo, I'm all in. This guy's for us. But no, I completely take your point, and I think it's right to say that. And I think we was at a really pivotal point, and I've said that, you know, I do the streams here with Redmen, I do streams with a couple of other content creators across the YouTube space. Yeah. And one of the things that I was really championing towards the back end of last season was the fact that we will sign 2 of the 3 on those last year contracts, the Verge, the Moes, the Trent. So I couldn't tell you which 2, but I'm confident that 2 of the 3 will stay. And I said, the massive thing is, if we get them to stay and commit their next 2-3 years, whatever the contract length looks like, to Liverpool, in order to have convinced them, you've got to put out a project in front of them that stipulates we're going to go and we're going to build to win now. Because there's no point in building for year 3 and year 4 if the likes of Van Dijk and Salah aren't going to be there to see it. They're going to look at that and think, oh, so you want, you're looking at these kids that aren't going to be ready to compete. They're not going to understand the pressures of going for a title. No, we'll pluck out Florian Wirtz, who's been Bundesliga player of the season 2 years on the bounce. And in one of those seasons, he went invincible and won by Leverkusen their first ever, Bundesliga title. Those type of signings have been at the table. The Alexander Isaks, this guy is going to be an absolute killer in terms of being in front of goal, and he'll gobble up the goals. We'll give him the supply. We'll give him that creativity that he needs to be a full force in front of goal. But they're signings that are ready now, with the elder statesmen in the squad, with the senior players that have been there and done it. These additional pieces will come in, and they will add to our chances of that level of dominance. And again, it's all relative. What we consider dominance, different to Man United, it's going to be different to City. But in terms of, we're going to have a sustained period now over the next couple of seasons where we're going to be in the conversation for the big ones, and people are going to be scared to look of the draw. Are we going to end up playing Liverpool? If we end up playing Liverpool, look at the firepower they've got. But we had to put ourselves in that position, and we had to convince the 2 big signings to stay. Because we forget, we extended them before we got the fanfare of Jeremy Frimpong and Kirkes. We'd extended Verge, but we had to convince them that the players that were going to come in were part of the future proofing, but also he was capable to add to the team that needs to win now. And I think we've balanced that absolutely perfectly. Look at Mamardashvili. He knows he's not going to be first choice right now. But in a season's time, 2 seasons' time, the landscape may have changed. Alisson may have moved on. You'll have had that tutelage of him over a couple of seasons. You'll then pick up the mantle. The likes of this Leone character, he's going to have a couple of years to learn and ply his trade under Virgil van Dijk. You're going to get Florian Wirtz and Alexander Isak that now are looking at it thinking, if we actually, stake a claim to be the talisman, to be the goal scorers, to be the creative spark in the way that Trent had been, the way Suarez had been, Coutinho, Gerrard, all those players that hold so much weight. All of a sudden you think, all right, well, yeah, I'll be ready to take the mantle of Mohamed Salah because I'll have the confidence and the experience that I'm just the heir apparent. It's my throne once, he wants to be in the twilight of his career and he wants to swan off to sunny Saudi and collect a massive payday because he absolutely deserves it. So I think we've balanced it really, really well. We've been smart in the window. As far as I'm concerned right now, I don't really care about the money. You've got to pay. You pay the price nowadays and you just get on with it. You worry about how it's going to work and you worry about whether they're going to live up to the price tag further down the line. I'm not really interested in that. I just want to make sure that we're buying the quality players in that add quality to this squad.
See, what you have to forget, and a lot of rival fans and content makers and stuff forget, talking about Liverpool spending over 400 million and they recouped a certain amount. But this is basically 3 windows compressed into one. They didn't do much in the last 2 bloody windows. You know what I mean? And if it's like going, I said to a fella at the weekend, an Arsenal fan, I said, it's like going for your big week shop. And you do your big week shop on a Saturday or whatever you do. You put it in the boot of your car. It nearly fills the boot. He's not doing a week shop. He's doing a 3 week or month shop. He's filling
He's
the
going to
bloody
Costco.
car, baby.
He's going to Costco, mate. That's where he's going. Do you know what I mean? He's
We
got a
went to
good-
M&S. We went to M&S, baby.
Well, that's
where
the Waitrose settings, man. We've been shopping and uptown shopping, and it just feels different. And as I said to you before, in my lifetime, I've not seen this level of, you know,
spend,
yeah. To put it bluntly, spend and ambition that goes with the spend. It's
but
not.
You know what it is? It's not reckless spending.
Well, this is my point, Dave.
It's targeted spending.
Exactly that. My point then was about to be: we've had 100 mil when prices were slightly different. We had 100 mil when we sold Suarez. What did we buy? A load of shite.
Yeah.
The only sorry, I don't know if I can swear. Sorry, but the only
that's okay.
The only player worth a beam from the Suarez money was Bobby Firmino, and he didn't look like he was going to be anything when we had Brendan, because Brendan didn't know how to use him. So all of these things, as you say, we're not just spending for spending's sake because the money's available. It's been very targeted. It's been very refined. And like I said to you before, it's not been Liverpool. The Rodrigo, for example, he might have been touted about and he might have been offered to a couple of clubs. His agent might have been in touch. We might have sent intermediaries over to Madrid and had those conversations. But if he would have got into the mixer, City would have popped up. Arsenal might have popped up. All of a sudden, everybody's trying to, pitch to this guy. That's all been done months. And that's why I said, when we didn't sign anybody apart from Kaiser last season, I went, the one thing is, it actually gives me more confidence because they're going to spend the whole year now having the talks with the targets they want and identifying, right, what's the money saying for us to be able to go and make that, like the Alexander Isaks. I had Arsenal fans all up until the Gokares thing came around this summer. They didn't think he was going to move, but if he had to move from Newcastle, it was written in the stars. He was Arsenal's. He was Henry Mark II. It was always going to be. And Liverpool have clearly had a strategy to say, well, no, actually, we'll negotiate. We'll speak to him. We'll see what he wants. We'll see if we can reach that. We'll see how much it's likely going to cost for us to get him out of Newcastle at this particular point in time. And we've went about our business in such a way that means that nobody else can really compete with us. Now, I appreciate there's a bit of a landscape at the moment in terms of European clubs. I know the Italian clubs are really hamstrung with finances at the moment. Barcelona aren't able to really throw money around that really fits the name of the club and the size of the club that they are. So they will struggle to be able to put the contracts in place for the players like an Isak or a Florian Wirtz. Real Madrid have spoiled themselves in doing what they've done with the Galacticos projects. They're not able to then go and throw 100 mil on a player when they went and give Mbappe the keys to the kingdom. So all these things just play into Liverpool's hands. Bayern Munich, for the size of the club and what they are, they don't seem to be able to have that same buying power in the same way at the moment in the last couple of seasons. They've probably dipped off a little bit and you've had to be a little bit more shrewd in the market, which just means, and you look at it across the board, the players that are coming to the Premier League, they want to play in the Premier League because it's the best league, but they want to go to the teams in the Premier League because those are the teams that are competing for the top honours. Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City, they've been there or thereabouts for the best part of 6-7 years now. So if you're not going to break into a Real Madrid side, I'll go to the Prem and I'll try and play for one of the big boys. And if I don't, I'll go to a feeder club and then one of the big boys will come and get me in 18 months, 2 years time. So I'm absolutely made up in the way that we've approached it and in the way that we've conducted ourselves about our business. It just goes to show the level of expertise that's at board level at the moment, mate. And again, I go back to the point, I've not seen it in my lifetime. I've never seen us operate like an apex machine. And right now we are, you know what I mean? This is things that we've all dreamed of. But we just didn't know if it was ever going to be feasible as a Liverpool fan. We always thought we'd have to live and spend within our means. And to an extent, you still have to, because obviously you look at the outgoings, that's recouped us over 200 million. But just in terms of the sheer volume of the business and the talent, it's like saying, best fullback in the league, we'll get him, right? Yeah. One of the best fullbacks on the continent, we'll go and get him as well, right? Best playmaker on the continent, we'll have him. Best number 9 in the league, we'll have a bit of... And it's just like, that's as you said, they're the Waitrose, they're the M&S. That's the level that we're shopping at, mate.
And even the likes of Hugo Ekitike, I mean, he was the best up and coming forward player. When you look at the likes of Sesko and Gokares, I actually think Ekitike, I know he's hit the ground running, but he has a great profile about him, doesn't he?
I really like Ekitike, to be honest with you. And again, I like signings like this because I'm not well versed and well up on the Bundesliga, so to say.
Yeah.
You know, you know the obvious teams, the Dortmund, and some of the talent that they've got, the likes of the Gittins in this world. I know they just got Job. I know that they've got a few players that we've seen and spotted over the years. Likewise with Bayern Munich, they're always massive. But in terms of some of the other clubs, unless they've really shot up and like kind of done what Bayer Leverkusen do, for me, they go under the radar. So with this lad at Frankfurt, I knew nothing about him, but I was glad that I knew nothing about him, because in my head, I was like, right, blank slate, just let me see with my own eyes. I'll do my own eye test, and I'll look to see kind of what you remind me of, how you know, how clinical you might be, how confident you are in front of goal, what's your hunger. He's got a little bit of the sturridge in him where he's just happy to have the shot and pull the trigger. But
yeah,
I also think there's a little bit of Aubameyang in him as well, in terms of he's got that kind of frame, and he likes to be a little bit of a showboater, and he likes to pull out some tricks here and there. And I'm like, there really is a player in there, and it looks like there's a player that's a lot more. I know a lot of people will lay criticism on the likes of Darwin Núñez's finishing ability, but his all-round game was also a little bit lacking in his ability to really link up play. And I think he had an unbelievable chemistry with Mohamed Salah, for what it's worth. And I think sometimes strikers have just got that, you know, in terms of trying to find, you know, you centre mid from 5 yards, the ball could go anywhere. But where you see your strike partner, you know exactly what runs he's going to be making, you know, how he's going to time them, you know, where he wants the ball, if he wants it on his left foot, on his right foot. So I think he had a great chemistry there, but I think, you know, it suited Salah, but didn't necessarily suit the whole team. Whereas I think somebody like Ekitike now will get so much more out of the forward line, because I think he's just got that willingness to drop in, knit things.
Yeah.
He can drop a shoulder. He's got a little bit of pace to him. He's wiry, so he's going to be able to kind of win balls or drop away from, you know, defenders in ways that, you know, smaller strikers won't be able to. And I think he's just got that confidence. So in terms of profile, he's an absolute gem. And you know, I'm already looking at him thinking, you might be one of my favourite Liverpool players in like 6 to 12 months.
He already sounds like a bloody bargain.
You know, yeah, exactly. Like, I'm sitting there and I'm genuinely thinking, yo, you might be somebody that I look at and think, pound for pound, we've got one of the best out available for us. Do you know what I mean? Whenever Isak needs a rest, you come in and you keep scoring the 1 or 2 goals, score goal and assist every other appearance. And I'm like, you can't knock it. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's where we needed to be. And it's just really, really refreshing, to be honest with you, because it gives me so much optimism. It makes what we're going to do here, what you're going to do on your channel, so much easier, because you can actually talk about the positives and the, you know, the benefits to having these players in your squad and what it means for your season. And it just means that I go into pretty much every single game and I feel like we're going to win.
I mean, look, it's dreamland. I still can't believe he's actually signed these. I have a big mark on my arm from pinching me bloody self every day. You know what I mean? I'm looking at Sweden training sessions. You know what I'm saying?
Never before in my life, until apart from Zlatan. Apart from when Zlatan was doing his thing. Outside of that, never.
ABBA reruns on YouTube is the only thing I've ever seen about Sweden. But you know what I mean? Like, I mean, look, he's to come in. I still think it could take a while for him to get in, because the fact he hasn't really kicked the ball in anger since May. Yeah. Look, he might get a few minutes for Sweden. Even that might help us. I'm sure they'll be very careful. Kids' clubs. I'm sure Liverpool will be saying, we don't want to see him playing 90 minutes or even a half of the game.
Yeah, let us look after him and nurture him first before, you know.
You know, I don't think Slot will rush him in anyway, because he's that type of manager, isn't he? He doesn't usually throw people into the frying pan straight away. If he's any issue or inkling that there's going to be a bit of an issue with a strain or something, he could be on the bench for the Burnley game, but I think that's as good as it gets for Isak for the Burnley game. But what's your take on poor old Mark Gahey, Crystal Palace captain at Cork? I mean, that would have been, I'm giving a 9 out of 10 win though, but I'm talking 12 out of 10. If he would have signed, which almost he did, it was cherry on top. It was Harrods, and then you're going for a meal in the Michelin star. Bang.
No, you spot on, mate. And I think the disappointing thing is, for me, from my perspective, is where's the loyalty to the player?
Yeah,
you've known, and there's been conversations, and you say we're not privy to it. The ITKs, the David Ornsteins, they're not always privy to the internal dialogue that's happened between management, you know, at board level and player. And he will have expressed that, look, there's a very strong likelihood that that club's going to come in for me, you know, at some point this summer. I've agreed personal terms with them. If they hit you with the price that you want, please make the adequate, you know, arrangements to allow me to go. and I will give my all. Until that point comes, I will give my all. And you just look, and I think especially the way the media have played out the two of, you know, the Isak situation, and I think the Isak thing was a way to just keep the whirlwind of the media, because they knew it was going to be a British transfer record fee. They wanted to make sure that dragged out for as long as possible. I think it was already a foregone
It was the
conclusion.
biggest news story of the window. There's no doubt about it.
Exactly. But notably, he wasn't the only one who acted like that throughout the course of the window. But because of all the things that was attached to it, they wanted to stretch that out. So they've stretched out this narrative now whereby Alexander Isak is, you know, public enemy number one for his behaviour, how he's conducted himself, how he spat his dummy out, and how he's forced the exit out of Newcastle. Other side of the spectrum, Mark Gahey is, you know, teacher's pet. He's followed the rule book. He's done it by the book. He's applied all the right. He's made all the right sounds in the background. He's made all the right sounds in the press. He's kept his head down. He hasn't kicked up a fuss, and he's continued to play. But where is the loyalty to him? Because his desire did not change at the 11th hour. He didn't just wake up on the 31st of August and go, actually, I fancy a move to Liverpool. Like, that didn't happen. No. And anybody who thinks that's happening is living in cuckoo land.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, I think that the fault lies not only with the chairman of Palace or the manager. I know Glasner didn't want him to go. You can understand that. He's one of his best players.
Of course.
You don't want your best players
to go. Dave.
But why didn't he have a replacement in? Why did he wait until the last day?
And then on top of that, Dave, what happens now when Glasner's got Crystal Palace in the top half of the Premier? There we go. And that's not far-fetched. That's not out of the realms of possibility.
He likes the back three and stuff like that and all. And he's a good manager, I have to say.
He's a good manager as well. And this is what I'm saying. In the next 6 to 12 months, his own career might be on it. So that's why I'm saying, where's the loyalty to Mark Gahey? He's done everything by the book. He's done it right. He's been patient. He's expressed his desire to leave when it all falls, all the pieces. We know it's a domino effect. Back end of the window, you're waiting for one chip to go down, and you all follow. He was in that link. He knew. I'm one of the pieces to that. But I want to complete the move when it comes to being my turn. And I just think Glasner, you know, again, I could be wrong, but I would expect if Glasner's went and made that stance, if he goes, I would then hand in my resignation. He should really now, no matter who comes knocking for Glasner this season, say, no, I've got to be loyal to this club, because I've lost him best part of £40 million. It'll be interesting to see the relationship with the player, because you'll have a player there now that's probably going to resent him to an extent. He might still be a model professional, and I think Mark Gahey will think of the fans, and he'll want to deliver for the fans and put a pin in his feelings towards the internal structure. But that's still unfair. Footballers' careers aren't infinite. They're very finite. You know, when you're playing and you're expected to play at that very, very top level, not everybody's a Van Dijk or a Salah that's got 7 years of
and you know the other thing, this was the dream move, and he was within 5-10 minutes, half an hour of getting it. There's no guarantee in life for anything. He could get an injury. There is not, his form could drop. I'm hoping Liverpool go in for him in January, maybe next summer. I think they have to go in January for him, because I think next summer you'll have to like some
Real Madrid, Arsenal, Chelsea will come back in.
I think Liverpool will have to go for him in January. And
I don't blame us for doing that. I think we just say, right, with instead of the 40 mil with the add-ons, here's 30 or here's 27 plus add-ons, whatever. I think it'd be, you know, silly if we didn't go back in showing how much he was that close from the line. But you're right. Everything you've said there is absolutely spot on. Their careers at the top, not everybody's a Salah or a Van Dijk. He might only have 3 years at the top level, and then he might be a good squad player and he might fill in and he might still be able to be a senior figure. But in terms of being top level and looking to be a part of, you know, team of the seasons and Champions League team of the seasons and all of those things, he might only have the best part of 2 to 3 years to really achieve that dream. And I just feel sorry for him, because again, it just goes to show, and it happens a lot in life, unfortunately, that you play by the book and you're going to get rolled. People will roll you over. And people
in business and everything, I'm sure it's the same thing. You know what I mean?
People will mug you off if you're nice about everything and you know you're happy to just be laissez-faire. What will be. People will mug you off because your best interests aren't in their best interest, unfortunately. And that's where sometimes you've got to be steadfast and no, you've already kind of given me your blessing. Make sure it happens. No ifs, no buts, no maybes. I'm getting me move. And if I have to kick up a fuss to do it and I have to wear all of the dirty laundry, then so be it. But it's best for all parties that, we end amicably if possible. But if not, I'm prepared to hold the smoke if it gets smoky in here. And fair play to the likes of Isaac, fair play to the likes of Gokares, fair play to the likes of Ursa, because now there are clubs that they want to play for and they're ready to focus on this season.
And another thing, just before we go, a lot of clubs, when you look at it, and you can look at Rashford at United and Sancho being treated quite badly, to be fair. When a club doesn't want you, they can basically do anything they want. They can sell you, or they can put you in reserves, or under 20 months. They can do what they want, but nothing is said about that.
In a moment's notice. Bin it off in a moment's notice.
Do you know what I mean? So
new manager comes in, don't like the look of your face, want something different.
You're gone. So it works both ways. You know what I mean? And as you say, Mark Gay, he told the line, did the right thing, and it didn't work out for him. I still hold out hope that it will work out and he will be a Red.
I hope so. And I felt sorry because the day after I seen people saying that he might end his own contract, and I was like, he's probably getting advised by people, and he's probably spoke to lawyers, and all sorts of people have probably been in his ear over the last 12 hours. But ultimately, the type of character that he looks like, he probably just wants to do right by the fans. He probably wants to crack on and continue playing his footy. And he probably doesn't want to be that guy that goes and ends his contract and have that as part of his legacy.
Probably hasn't hit him yet, Errol, because he went away the next day to the England camp.
To England camp.
He's away. So when he comes back next weekend, it might only hit him then.
Yeah. No, you're right. And again, I do feel sorry for him, but I think Liverpool have got to. We've got to look after our best interests as well. We've got to pray that Canate stays fit, pray that Joe Gomez stays fit, pray that John the Lion is the mammoth that everybody keeps making.
The Lionheart.
The Lionheart. Everyone keeps making him out to be. And we've got to start to just get that defensive solidity locked down and then maintain it. And I just think we're just going to have too much for the majority of teams. I think you probably look at 3 or 4 teams, and that's across Europe, mate. That's not across just the Prem. His record speaks for itself. Nearly 37 games on the bounce. He scored a goal. We've only lost 1 game at Anfield. He's got the highest win ratio at Anfield in that first 12 months. What he's achieved has been unbelievable. It's nothing short of remarkable. He deserves a hell of a lot of credit for it. Well, I think he still sees more. And that's the scary thing. It's like he sees that the playing style can go up 2, 3, 4 gears, and that's the true Liverpool, which to me just seems I can't imagine mentally, cognitively think how does that look and operate on a pitch over 90 minutes. Frightening.
Well, hopefully we'll find out in the next few months. But just before we go, another thing I keep talking about, and I don't really hear anybody talking about it. When Arne Slot signed last year, he signed a 3-year contract. Remember, it was only a 3-year contract, quite small contract. A year of it's already gone. He's only got 2. He's into his 2nd year.
Yeah,
I'd like him to be tied down pretty soon on a long-term contract.
Do you know what? That's an actually brilliant point, to be fair. And I think it's the embodiment of everything. He's come in and fitted so seamlessly. He talks so well. He seems to be a real calming effect. It's not as emotional at times. And don't get me wrong, we've had plenty of reason over the last 3 months to feel really emotional, the highs and the lows.
And his brother,
and everything in between. Even the incident after the parade, after I met you at the parade, incident there again, it just makes a somber moment out of what's meant to be such a joyous occasion. So he's had unprecedented circumstances dropped into his lap, but he's handled them with such a level of authority, grace, and composure that just gives everybody reassurance that actually the club's in safe hands. And I actually like in this season, especially with all the changes, to be more of a transitional season than last season. Last season was a continuation of what Klopp had laid the blueprint for.
Yeah.
And he went, right, if I can get an extra 5-10% out of a couple of other players, we might have a title push there, depending on what everybody else does. Oh, turns out City have fell out. Turns out Arsenal aren't up so much. We'll go and walk it then, and we'll continue that form and carry it through. This year, getting his pieces into the puzzle, starting to make a new structure and starting to create his own legacy and history. I think it might feel a little bit more transitional, but I think with the firepower and quality that we've brought in, it helps bridge that gap. So to fans like us, we might still be picking holes and flaws in it, externally, people might just think we're brilliant and we're flawless, but we know, just, Gravenberch's game or McAllister needs a little tweak here and there. We need to really get Salah into games a little bit more. We'll see it because we live and breathe Liverpool. But I think there might be a little bit of transition. I think our quality gets us through, and my not saying there's cracks, but the expression would be to paper over cracks.
Yeah,
I think it'll help us cover our own backs a little bit, and then, as you say there, tying him down will give the confidence to the likes of the Verts, the young Rios of this world, the Ekatikes, the Isaacs, right? I made the decision. Again, not even based to be with Klopp and play with the Klopp team. The Dominic Szoboszlai's that joined to be under Klopp and the McAllisters. And I think, actually, no, what he's building here, there's no better run operation in Europe. I'm staying. So now that the gaffer's committed, I'll commit. We'll get Szoboszlai on a new contract. You might get Maka on a new contract. Gravenberch signs because they've bought into his philosophy, his ideas, and they want to be part of this legacy. And as I say right now, I hope they want to be part of the years of dominance that Liverpool are looking to cook up at the minute, mate. It really, it's frightening for everybody else, and I'm absolutely made up for us by all accounts. Absolutely. I've waited my whole life to be at the top and just be riding it.
I seen Liverpool dominating in the 80s. I'm following Liverpool since 84, 85. And, but I've also seen United dominate in the 90s and the 90s. So, it's our time now. Let's get behind the manager, get behind the team. Let's win this. I want to go 21. I think winning the league and everything else is a bonus. I keep saying, I said it last year. Yes, I want to win the Champions League, but the bread and butter, I'm old school. I want the league every bloody year. I want that Premier League.
Well, I've got that book now. I've got that book because it alluded.
It's contagious, isn't it? Very contagious.
Now I'm like, those parade settings. I need to be involved in them every single season. But the one thing that I will say before we obviously wrap up on the stream is, fans of Liverpool, as much as we can be happy for us, we are dealing with humans, and a little bit of patience in the tough times, because we'll be put in some tough situations. We'll have some results that will leave us questioning certain things. Will come good, but we need to have that patience and trust and belief that the squad have got what it takes to get themselves through whatever difficult patch that they find themselves in through the course of the season. And that goes for the obvious reasons of the Jota stuff and stuff like that. But I just think it's on us to take that message and put it out there and let people know it's okay not to be perfect, and it's okay to have your bad days, and we are still going to back you regardless. It's none of this infighting. It's none about it's player FC for that one and not for this one. No, we are a family unit at LFC, and the love that we've got will cover you, rain, sleet, hail, or snow, because we know that you're putting it in for us. So I think that's probably one of the things that I want to start circulating a little bit, to just remind people that, just have that little bit of patience and grace. Sometimes online there's a bad performance. Vert is already... No, he's brand new.
I've seen it. Don't worry,
just
we see it.
Forget about it. Just forget about it. Just back and belief, because that's what got us in the same situation as we did last season. It was that belief and it was that backing. We didn't make any signings and we still backed it. Look what we've done now.
Yeah, well said. But you know what it is? I was on with Garrett Roberts the other day in the Late Challenge podcast.
Yeah, man. Nice lad.
Good lad, Garrett Roberts. And I was saying to him, like, obviously Klopp left. There was a big void he was basically the modern day Shankly. But Slot seems to me like the modern day Paisley, and we know what Paisley did. You know what I mean? Let's hope.
Yeah. And again, like, history and repeating itself in such a way that, like, they embody those type of, and they're not just any managers. These are one in a lifetime. Do you know what I mean? So if you're, you've been supporting Liverpool for the 60s and 70s, like me, mum, she'll have seen them both. Do you know what I mean? Or heard and seen around of these both, and I got to see this new iteration of them for comparison. So we are very, very blessed. But again, it goes back to the work that the board level have done that has probably been under the radar and been underappreciated, because there's a level of due diligence, there's a level of acumen that they've got that's not a fluke. You don't stumble across a slot by fluke. You do that because everything that you've looked at, from the research, from the tactics, to his temperament, to his coaching setup, to the way that he plays stylistically, all of those things had to be factored in and weighed up versus other people. And for all of those things, he came out on top for a reason. We have to then trust that they've got the job right. Helps that he's went and won a Premier League, but now we also have to trust the players that have been brought in are of that same methodology. Yeah. It's all been thought out. And as I say, I think right now, we are one of one. I don't see another team. Again, Madrid's Madrid. I always think they're one of one in their own way, but they don't look as balanced. I don't think the defense is as good as ours. I think, you know, league-wise, they're just obsessed with the Champions League and sometimes sacrifice the league for. I just think in terms of domestically, Liverpool are one of one. In terms of Europe, there's probably only 2 or 3 teams that on their day can really, really put us under the pressure and put us to the sword. So, and again, likewise, flip reverse of that, we could do the same to them. So it's anybody's guess how the Champions League will go. But in terms of the Premier League, I'd love to steal a march now. I'd love to see other teams starting to drop points. And I'd love to get to the old Chelsea days where you look at the end of Christmas and you're thinking, well, the league's done. Liverpool have got that wrapped up. It's good. And some people, some fans are already saying it because of Isak. Isak's the one. And that's the mentality you want going to other players and other teams, other managers. When they come to Anfield, oh, it's not today. They've got Isak. They've got this one. They've got Salah. They've got Virgil. Let's just not get embarrassed.
Let's lock it up. We're out
let's lock it up.
Yeah, before they've even arrived.
Kick the ball.
City a few years ago when they were on an unbelievable run. Most teams that were turned over before they even get off the coach.
Exactly, and that's where I there's always one team every single season that ends up with that level of clout. I want that to be Liverpool this season. No doubt about it. And Liverpool have got all of the materials and minerals to be that team. Good luck to Arsenal pushing us and trying to keep on our coattails. But I just think psychologically, the other teams will have checked out for Liverpool. Just give them. And they'll go and try and.
You're right. I'll get you on. Yeah. I'll get you on in May. Let's hope it's another.
We'll do it, mate. We'll get on at Christmas and we'll do it halfway through the season. Do you know what I mean? We'll do it periodically. But that's my opener. As I say, right now, I think every Liverpool fan's got every single reason to be positive and just keep positive at the forefront of your mind. Yeah.
Right, well, before we go, Errol, what have you got upcoming on any project, any shows, Redmen TV?
So obviously international break at the minute, Dave. It's going to be a little bit quiet. I'll be doing the Red Cartel tomorrow. That'll be about 7 o'clock going out live. So we'll have a panel on there for that. Still need to think of what we're going to really be discussing tomorrow because of obviously the international break, probably just back end of the transfer window. And then what else have we got coming up? Yes, hopefully over the next couple of weeks there'll be some more stuff that I'll just be bubbling up and be ready to be put out there to the world. But for the time being, as I say, I'm locked in with Redmen. I'll be doing the watch-alongs when we come back, and then there'll be you'll see me popping up at some random other spaces as well, and just trying to grow this year. We're just trying to grow
everywhere.
And get the profile out there. Definitely.
Well, look, thank you very much for coming in. You're an absolute legend. I hope to get you on at some stage again in the future, but. Stay safe. Let's hope we have a few trophies in the cabinet this year. I'm sure the Reds just get behind the team no matter what happens. Anyway, I'm a Liverpool fan no matter what happens for the last 30 years, so it doesn't make any difference to me. But I want success. I think we've got to make hay with the sunshine.
We've got to capitalize right now. When the going's good, go and capitalize.
Yeah. When the going gets stir.
Exactly that, my man. Exactly. Well, that's it. Right. We've got the team for it.
Errol, thank you very much, chat.
What's up, man?
Stay
safe.
Up the chat.
Make sure you drop a like on the stream as well. Show some love, like, subscribe.
Hit the like, hit the share, give us a sub. Show us you care. Cheers, guys. You'll never walk alone.